Hi, I'm Jennifer of Celtic Knot Crochet, and today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect Mother's Day card using this pretty motherhood Celtic knot and some watercolor pencils and some free templates and printables that you'll find at CelticKnotCrochet.com. So let's get started. First, we're going to transfer the design to a piece of watercolor paper. So what you will want to pick up is some watercolor paper. I found mine at Michael's Artist Loft, and if you open it up you see that it's some nice thick slightly off-white paper, and it works great with watercolors. So you'll want to cut a piece of that to about 4 by 4¼ inches. So the 4 is going this way and 4¼ is this way. And then you'll also want to print out the printables that are listed in the supply list. And I printed mine out on cardstock, so that just gives it a little bit more stability. And you'll see that not only is the knot template given to you, but then I also included Happy Mother's Day in a couple pretty fonts. And the second page has a bunch of Mother's Day quotes, different things that you might want to include inside your card, just to make it easier for you. That's optional. Now what I use to transfer the design is a light box. It's technically for children. It's called a Light Up Tracing Pad by Crayola. But there are many light boxes out there. You can even look on the internet and build your own light box very simply with a plastic bin and some Christmas lights inside. Another option is to just do the same thing I'm doing here, but instead of doing it on a light box, you can do it on a window. And you would just put the template up on the window as I'm putting it on this light box. And then you take the watercolor paper and place it over the top. And then when you turn on the light box, it's the same thing as the sunshine shining through your window, and you can see the outline of the template. And you just want to take a nice sharp pencil and lightly trace over all the different paths of the knot. And you want to be careful that as you do so, you stick to the over and unders that you can see in the pattern. So don't add any marks, just keep the ones that are there. And you'll see that it will alternate over, under, over, under. Now if you are very good at tracing, or you want to save some time, you can actually do this step with the watercolor pencils directly onto the watercolor paper. But if you need some practice and you think you might need to erase little mistakes here and there, then I recommend doing it lightly in pencil first. So if you work on that, you will end up with something that looks like this. So here's the template that you printed out and can use to make several more, and here is the design now transferred. Now once you have your design transferred, you'll need to use some watercolor pencils. Now the watercolor pencils I like to use are also from Michael's by Artist Loft, and they come in all different colors. Today I'm going to use the blue violet and the ocean blue. So I'm going to use two different colors. As you see on the example, I made the heart in a pinkish red, and then the bottom bigger heart in a light green. So if you wanted to make one these colors, because to me they look like coral and mint, which I think is a great color combination, I use the vermilion and the yellow green. So all you want to do is decide which heart you want to color which color. So I am going to pick blue for the top one, And if you look, you can see the top heart is right here. So I'm going to first outline right over my pencil that I traced before. And you can see it doesn't show under the color. And I'm pressing firmly so it's nice and dark. And as you see, you can turn the template to work for you, so you can keep your hand in the same position and turn the paper. And then you have better control over your pencil. Double check, I forgot a section here. Make sure they're all covered in the same color. So now you can see how the top heart is all colored. And then you're going to go back and lightly shade along the outside edge of the path. Being careful again not to cross over into another path. As you can see right here, you want to pick up your pencil and then work here so you can still see the under and over, right? And there, our top heart is completed, and I'm going to put down the blue, and I'm going to repeat the same process with the blue violet. So now I'm finishing the blue violet, and this is how your Celtic knot should look right now. Now the next step is where the magic happens. It's a really fun step because you're going to take a little bit of water and a paper towel so you can blot off your paintbrush. You just use an artist brush. So dab in the water, dab it off on the paper towel, and then go along working from your edge that you shaded and working towards the other side of the knot. And when you feel like it's not working, you need more water, repeat the same process. And continue to turn and work. You can see how the water activates the watercolor pencil and causes it to blend. And you have a darker blue on the outside edge and lighter on the inside. The key is to make sure you blot off the brush after you place it in the water each time, because if you have too much water, then it's going to ruin your design and run over the edge. So you need a very small amount of water. It's really hard to do this incorrectly, because the water and the pencil does the work for you to give it a really nice, simple watercolor look. You can go back wherever you see that you might have missed some areas. And there you have it with the blue. And then make sure you rinse off your brush well. You don't want to mix the blue and the purple. And then you go back and repeat the same process with the purple. And it's up to you whether you want it to look more solid or you want to have some white peeking out. You can come back over and use more of the colored pencil if you'd like it to be darker. You might want to experiment with a couple different knots. And practice different color combinations that you like. I like using two different colors so you can really see the two hearts pop out and how they're intertwined. Very symbolic of a mom and her children's hearts. But you might want to try all the same color. You could also try a different color outlining the path than what you colored on the inside of the path. I haven't tried that one yet. That would probably create some interesting effects. And there you have the watercolor paint with water. Now on to the finishing step. Now that we've completed the knot, we need to mount everything to a card blank. Now I like to buy my card blanks also at Michael's. You can find them at any craft store. They usually come in packages of 25 or 50 in white and off-white. And you'll see that they already have a nice folding line so you can fold it neatly, and it's already cut perfectly for you, and they come with envelopes as well. But you can make your own by just taking any card you have at home and tracing it onto a piece of cardstock and cutting it out. Cardstock comes in so many beautiful colors. You can buy it again in a big pack at the craft store, or you can buy single sheets at a time. And then what I like to do is I like to use the cardstock and the perfect square edges to my advantage. So here is our finished knot, and I'm going to hold it right up into the corner. I just eyeball it, and I see that's about a 1/4 of an inch around those two sides. And then with my nice sharp scissors, I cut around the other two sides. And now I know that this one and this one were cut by the manufacturer and they're perfect, and all I had to do was 2, and it makes it a lot easier to get a nice clean cut. And then I would just use a glue stick and glue on the back of the knot, thoroughly cover it around the edges and in the middle. And then I found that if I also apply the glue stick to the cardstock, they adhere much better. And I might need to come back and put some more under the corners like that. And another technique for gluing this down is to just put a nice heavy book on it for about an hour, and then they'll be adhered very nicely. So that's that piece, and you can decide. This card here I made holding the card this way, and then the one that I showed you earlier, I'm holding the card the other way. So you decide which way you like, and then you would just do the same method of gluing and glue it on here like so. And then on the inside, again, you would use the free printable of the quotes and at the bottom of the knot template. Now I included this box around it, again, to help you cut nice and straight lines. So if you cut around any one of the quotes or the Happy Mother's Day on the inside of the black lines, you won't see the black lines in your finished product, but it'll help you cut a nice straight rectangle. And again, I would do the same thing. So if this is the piece of cardstock I used before, I would go up into the corners that were already cut by the factory perfectly for me and cut around this white piece. Now you can print out the quotes on any color paper you would like, and you can put another piece behind this. Sometimes it looks nice with a second color behind like this. You can also use a gold marker and draw some highlights. But I think at least having one piece of cardstock behind the quotes and the Happy Mother's Day greeting really finishes the project off. And here's another saying, and I would do the same thing. Put it in the corner, cut around, and then I would add it to the inside of the card. And then you can put the Happy Mother's Day up here on the top, and the quote here, and then of course you can add your own message here and on the back. And I've also included a free printable. This is what it looks like when you print it out, of 10 ideas of what to write inside your perfect Mother's Day card. So just giving you some tools. Sometimes you sit down to write a few little personal words in a card and you draw a blank. So this here can give you some ideas of what you can write. You can write them all, or you can just pick one or two. And I think with all these things put together, you'll end up with a really beautiful card that you spent time to make for your mom, and she'll love it. Thanks for watching.